Hello. In this module, we are going to talk about entity relationship diagrams. An entity relationship diagram is used to design databases. It identifies the important categories of data, their relationships to each other, as well as specific data elements that the database will require. There are three components to the entity relationship diagram. First, there are entities. These are the categories of data that you might be interested in. For example, if you're thinking about a sales report, you might be thinking about customers, orders, prices, products, etc. Attributes are specific pieces of data in an entity. If a category or entity is customer, specific pieces of data or attributes might be the customer's name, the customer's address, the customer's phone number, etc. Relationships identify how entities are connected to one another. For example, if you have entities customer, orders, and products, you might say that customers are related to orders in that customers place orders. Or you might say that orders are related to products in that orders consist of products. Here we have a simple example of students, advisors, and the departments that the advisors belong to. Notice that each entity is labeled at the top with the entity name, student, advisor, and department. Within the box for each entity are the actual data pieces that are relevant to that entity. And the first element in each entity, student number for student, advisor name for advisor, and department name for department, are the unique identifiers for each entity. That means you can identify a specific relevant record within each entity based on the unique identifier. For example, if I want to look up a specific student in the student entity, I will look up that student by their student number. Next, we'll look at how entities can be related to one another. There are three types of relationships or methods how entities can be related to one another. The first one is called a one-to-one relationship. In this relationship, one entity is directly related to one other entity and only one other. For example, if we think about students and their driver's licenses, for every student there is one and only one driver's license. So you can say that one student is related to one driver's license, or one student owns one driver's license. The way that a one-to-one relationship between entities is drawn is by drawing a single line between the two entities. Notice in this example, a single line is going into the entity student, and a single line is going into the entity driver's license. These single lines represent a one-to-one relationship. The second type of relationship is called a one-to-many relationship. This means that one entity can be related to many entities of another entity type. For example, if we look at department and advisor, two entities, one department, for example, mathematics department, might have many advisors. To graphically represent the one portion of the one-to-many relationship, draw a single line into the entity that is the one. In this case, draw a single line into the entity titled department. To represent the many portion of the one-to-many relationship, draw three lines as indicated in the diagram, and this is known as a crow's foot. The third type of relationship is known as a many-to-many relationship, and this relationship means that many entities of one type may be related to many entities of another type. In our example of advisor and student, one advisor may advise many students, but also one student may have many advisors. This means that advisors and students can have many-to-many relationships. To graphically represent the many-to-many relationship, draw crow's feet on both sides of the joining line between the two entities. In our example here, you see crow's feet on the left side going into the advisor entity. And also on the right side, you see crow's feet going into the student entity. Crow's feet going into the advisor and into the student entities means that the advisor-student relationship is many-to-many. Another important concept in ER diagrams is the notion of minimum cardinality, the minimum number of entities in a relationship. Looking at the advisor-student relationship, we know that it is many-to-many. Let's assume that students in the college must have an advisor. And let's further assume that advisors need not advise any students. Given this information, we can know that in the advisor-student relationship, there must be at least one advisor, and there need not be any students. To represent that we want at least one advisor in the relationship, you place a vertical bar on the line that's nearest to the advisor entity. To represent that you need not have any students in the advisor-student relationship, you place an oval near the student entity. In this discussion, we've exposed you to some basic ER diagramming concepts, and in the next discussion, we'll actually tackle a problem and try and solve it. I hope you'll join us then.